comes to America. When the President of the United States invites the King of the Elephants to visit Washington, Babar accepts with pleasure. Afterwards, when he goes on a sightseeing tour from coast to coast, his family joins him partway. Disneyland, the Grand Canyon, cable cars, the supermarket, drive-in movies, these and many other experiences add up to a memorable trip for the world's favorite elephant. Written in, translated from the French by Jean Craig. Published in 1965. In an airplane flying over Paris, Babar, King of the Elephants, is on his way to the United States. The president has invited him for an official visit. When little Alexander said, "I would like to go to America too," Babar thought, after all, why not? And so it has been decided that Queen Celeste and the children will come later and join Babar in California. In just a few hours, the airplane is on the other side of the ocean. The stewardess announces through the loudspeaker, "Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching Dulles International Airport. Washington, D.C., fasten your seatbelts and please observe the non-smoking sign." It is a very up-to-date airport. Traveling waiting rooms called mobile lounges, as comfortable as living rooms, carry passengers from the planes to the terminal building. Surrounded by reporters and photographers, Babar says few words in English, but with a strong French accent. "I am very happy to come to your great country, the country of Washington, of Mark Twain, of Danny Kaye." That same evening, he has dinner with the president at the White House. Babar goes to see the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, and the Capitol. It is all very tiring. Babar also visits the Washington Monument. After a few days, he has visited all the museums in the Capitol. Here he is gazing at a rocket outside the Smithsonian Institution. "Do you have rockets like this in the country of the elephants?" someone asks. "Of course," answers Babar. "The first astronaut to set foot on the moon might just be an elephant." The official part of the trip is over. Babar is about to leave Washington to make a tour of the United States. So he packs away his crown and puts on a hat. Then he flies to New York, a city he has always wanted to see. Babar feels happy and very excited. As soon as he arrives, he goes for a walk on Park Avenue, but he gets something in his eye. This happens rather often in New York. Babar has spent a restful night in the Hilton Hotel. Seated in front of the window, he has his breakfast of orange juice, toast, cereal, and tea. Then he dresses quickly to go out. In the elevator, he swallows several times to keep his ears from hurting. The 40th floor is really high. Babar takes a bus. The driver scolds him for putting a quarter in the fare box instead of 15 cents. At the bus stop, the doors stay shut. Babar is worried. "Step down," shouts the driver. Babar steps down and the doors open automatically. "A few seconds more and I would have been trapped," Babar thinks. Then he goes for a stroll in Central Park. On the streets of New York, everyone seems to be in a hurry. No one looks at anyone else. And the moment the traffic lights turn green, the auto horns all honk at once. What a racket! Walking always makes Babar hungry. He goes into a drugstore. He can't decide which one to order, a hamburger or cheeseburger. Finally, he takes both. It is just as difficult to choose something to drink. He wants to try everything. Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, V8, 7-Up, ginger ale, all of them. Finally, for dessert, he orders apple pie a la mode, but he samples a banana split and a chocolate soda too. And then he doesn't feel very well. He has eaten too much. To buy something for his stomachache, he just walks over to another counter in the same store. Drugstores are certainly convenient. It's too bad that there aren't any in the country of the elephants. Now Babar continues his walk. He is looking for a jewelry store that has been recommended to him. But the store is gone. A new 50-story building is being built here. Suddenly, Babar says to himself, "I have forgotten where I'm supposed to meet my friends Bob and Helen." He telephones them. "We will pick you up at your hotel at 7 o'clock, Helen says. They take him to a Japanese restaurant. Babar is delighted with it. He takes off his shoes like everyone else. Babar tells his friends that he has bought a brass rooster in an antique shop. Later in the evening, they go to the Greenwich Village to hear Theodorus Priest and his quartet. Bob asks, "Do you like jazz?" "Very much," says Babar. Babar spends a quiet weekend in Scarsdale with his friends and their children, Peter, Tommy, Billy, and the dog. Babar learns to play baseball. What strength! And he doesn't even need a glove to catch the ball. "It's not fair," says little Billy. "Would you like to go to the supermarket with me?" asks Helen. "With pleasure," answers Babar. "And I will push the shopping cart." But he has a hard time following Helen as she quickly makes her way through the aisles. Babar takes home some popcorn for Peter, Tommy, and Billy. "This way, I'm over here," she calls to him. Oops. It's so big, Babar knocks over a gallon of cider. He's so big, he knocks over a gallon of cider. The bottle breaks. There is quite a traffic jam, and Babar's very upset. It's not important, Helen says to him. Then Babar takes home some popcorn, and in the evening, they watch a baseball game on television. Babar has spent a whole evening preparing for the rest of the trip and deciding which places to visit. He goes to Boston and then to Harvard University. Babar is awarded the degree of Doctor of Letters, a great honor. The professors present him with his diploma and a hood. Then Babar visits the office of the Lampoon, the student magazine. He promises to send the students photographs from the country of the elephants. Babar continues on his tour. Here he is in Detroit, inspecting an automobile factory. It is certainly fascinating to learn how cars are made. First, there is only a block of red-hot steel. It is cut up and shaped into many parts, and then everything is put together on an assembly line. Suddenly, Babar hears someone shout, "Watch out, Mr. Elephant!" Too late, his hat is gone. Babar admires Chicago, especially the Merchandise Mart and the Marina Towers. Here he is on State Street. On Sunday, some friends take Babar fishing on the shore of Lake Michigan. There are a great many people. They all have fishing poles, picnic lunches, barbecue grills, and even television sets. Babar settles down to fish. For a long time, he must be patient. It really seems that there are no fish. Still nothing. Oops! There is one on his hook. But to serve for lunch, it's rather small. You won't starve, Babar, his friend Lena says. I have brought a steak. In fact, no one beside the lake is eating fish. Everywhere are barbecue grills with skewered meat and spare ribs. Babar broils the steak like a real chef. After lunch, he plays with Lena's little boy, Adrian. Babar continues his trip west. Then the train takes him across the Rocky Mountains. Babar rides the Vistadome car so that he can admire the view and take photographs. Babar arrives at the hotel in San Francisco. There he is, shout Palm, Flora, Alexander, and Cousin Arthur, who have been hiding on the staircase. Papa, Babar. The manager welcomes them. The manager welcomes Babar, and the children take them to his room where Celeste is waiting. Babar kisses her tenderly. Then Flora and Alexander jump onto his lap, insisting, "Tell us about the trip." Babar tells them about everything he has done since his arrival in Washington. Then he goes out to see the Golden Gate Bridge. Unfortunately, it is hidden by fog. He must go back 3 times before it's clear enough to see. This bridge is beautiful, say the children. Then they are going to ride on the cable car. This is how a family of elephants rides on a cable car. To keep it from tipping over, Celeste and Flora have taken a taxi because women are not permitted to ride on the outside of the cable car. Only elephants. Babar carries Pom back to the hotel on his shoulder. The little elephant is still crying because her stomach hurts. They call the doctor. My child, says the doctor, you have eaten too much lobster. Pom has to take bad tasting medicine and grumbles a little. When Pom is better, they go to ride along the coast of the Pacific and stop to watch the seals and the birds through binoculars. The seals bark in a very odd way. I'd love to take one home, says Pom. It wouldn't be happy, says Arthur. A seal must live in the water. Too bad, says Pom. The children like to jump into the waves and to gather seaweed and shells. Babar and his family have left Carmel to visit Yosemite Park. What wonderful mountains! When they drive their car through a tremendous sequoia, Pom asks, that's the redwoods, not Yosemite. Pom asks, how did they make this hole? And Flora worries, suppose the tree should fall while we are passing through it. This is Death Valley. Since the sun is blazing hot, they brought an umbrella. That's why you go in the winter. Arthur wants to photograph the whole family beside the bad water pool. He sets up his automatic camera and hurries to stand next to Flora so that they could all be in the picture. Oh, Los Angeles. It is so big one cannot tell where it begins or where it ends. Babar doesn't believe his eyes. Everyone told us we would lose our way among all these highways, he says to himself. Well, I'm quite proud of myself. It seems to me that I managed very well indeed. A famous moving picture director, Urchin Walls, gives a reception at his house in Beverly Hills in honor of Babar and Celeste. Even some of the movie stars are there. Then they go to Disneyland. Pom, Flora, Alexander are trembling with excitement. They run along Main Street towards Sleeping Beauty's castle. They hurl themselves into the toboggans of the Matterhorn. They then spin in the mad teacups until their heads are whirring. And like all the passengers aboard the stern wheel steamboat, they feel they're actually on the Mississippi River. In North Hollywood, Charles and Liza have a wonderfully blue swimming pool. Pom, Flora, Alexander, and Arthur spend most of their time in it, swimming like fish. When you decide to take your turn at diving, Babar, Liza says jokingly, let me know. I'll have to lower the water level, or else the pool will overflow and the whole garden will be flooded. And they watch a movie. Oh, now they're going to stay a few days in Los Angeles before returning to New York. And Babar and Arthur leave by helicopter, each in his own, because together they would be too heavy for one. Well, they're flying over the Arizona desert. Babar runs out of gas. He comes down in the middle of some cactus. Arthur lands close by. What's the matter? Arthur shouts. While Babar waits, seated on a rock, Arthur flies off to look for gas, but at the very moment he sees a service station in the distance, he runs out too. What luck, he groans, a whole mile to walk in this sun carrying 2 cans of gas. I don't care for this. Because, you know, you can just buy helicopter gas anywhere in the Arizona desert. They have arrived at the Grand Canyon. Arthur wants to go down to the Colorado River. Since they do not wish to crush the mules, they go on foot. Wisely, Babar suggests that they call a halt before they reach the bottom. Remember, climbing up again is much harder, he says. Babar and Arthur pay a visit to the Indians. They listen, fascinated, to the hunting tales told by old Chief Sitting Bull. He also tells them the legend of the white buffalo. Arthur dances while Babar thumps on a big drum. You dance almost as well as we do, the Indians say politely. Perhaps the author saw too many Hollywood movies. Babar and Arthur are now in Texas. In Dallas, Babar buys a check shirt. They go to see a ranch where there are magnificent black Angus cattle. I'm going to show the finest bull in the world, the cowboy says. He is called Max. If I scratch his back, he shakes his head like a big dog. New Orleans. This is their last stop. And they ride a carriage through the old French Quarter. Sorry, I forgot. Got so excited about Texas that I forgot to show the picture of the cow. Now, in the fall, everyone stops playing baseball and starts playing football. So they go to a football game with the marching band. Oh, after the game, Arthur learns to play football. He could play European rugby, but football rules are different. The Yale and Harvard teams play with Arthur for a few minutes just for fun. On Thanksgiving, Bob and Helen invite Babar and his family to join them for dinner. They ask the king of the elephants if he will carve the turkey. I guess they're smoking cigars. Celeste is hurrying to buy some last-minute gifts as she passes a hat department. She cannot resist the temptation to choose a new one for herself. And now it's time to say goodbye. Babar, Celeste, Arthur, Palm, Flora, and Alexander are returning to the country of the elephants. They are sad about leaving, but they hope to see their friends again someday. On the deck of the ship, watching the tall buildings fade slowly into the distance, they carry with them the memories of their special trip to America. The end.